So now let's play with S3 versioning. And so first we need to go into the properties. And then we have a bucket versioning setting. We're going to edit this and we're going to enable it. And this is to enable bucket versioning. And therefore, any files we overwrite now is just going to add versions into our buckets. So this is good. Let's go into our objects and say we want to update our website. So let's go back, find the website URL. It is right here. Okay, so we have I love coffee, but let's say we want to write I really love coffee. So therefore, let's go back into here, our file, and I'm going to edit it and say I really love coffee. I've saved it, and now I upload this file again. So I'm going to add a file, and it will be my index.html. And now we have updated content in that file. So if I upload it, it's successful. So now it's been overwritten. If I go into my first web page and refresh this, I get I really love coffee. But what did happen in the back? Well, if we go here and we have here this toggle show versions, we're going to show the actual version ID with the files. And so we can notice a few things. Number one, the files that we had uploaded before, such as the beach.jpg and the coffee.jpg, have a null version ID. That's because they were uploaded before we had enabled versioning. But this file index.html, as you can see, has two versions. One has version ID null, which is the file we had uploaded before enabling versioning. But the file we uploaded just right now has a version ID. And therefore, by updating this file and uploading it into our S3 bucket, we have created a new version ID. So this is something you can only see if you enable this toggle. So now, thanks to versioning, what we can do is we can actually roll back our page. So we have I really love coffee, but we want to go back to I love coffee. So how do we do this? Well, we click on this specific version ID. Okay, so make sure that show versions is enabled. And then we're going to delete. And here we have to delete a specific version ID of our object. And therefore, when we delete a specific version ID of our object, it's called a permanent delete. So it's a destructive operation. It cannot be undone. And so if we're sure, we type permanently delete in this text box and click on delete objects. And now if we go back, as we can see, we are back with the previous state of our bucket. And therefore, if I refresh this page, I just get I love coffee. But what if we disable show versions? So now we just have our objects. And I'm going to take this coffee.jpg file and I will delete it itself. So this time we don't actually delete the underlying version ID. We delete by adding a delete marker. And so it doesn't actually delete the underlying object, as we'll see. So let's just type delete this time. It's not permanently delete, it's just delete. And we delete the object. Perfect. So now if we have a look at it from within our bucket, it looks like the coffee.jpg file is done. But if we click on show versions, we see that we have a delete marker on our coffee.jpg file with this version ID. And the previous at least, coffee.jpg file is still in our bucket. But it's being overwritten, at least right now from a version perspective, by a delete marker. So back into our web page, if I refresh this page and I refresh it by forcing a refresh, by doing Command-Shift-R to force a refresh, then we see that the image is not available. So how do we get back this image? And if I just try to, for example, open this image in a new tab, it doesn't work. I get a 404 not found. So instead, to get back the previous objects, I can click on this delete marker and I'm going to delete the delete marker. So I will permanently delete this delete marker. And the effect of that is that it will restore the previous version of my object, which is this one from before. So back into my web page, if I refresh it now, we can see that the coffee.jpg file is there. So you can play around with versioning. You can add as many file versions as you want. You can start deleting them and view what happens. But I hope you like this lecture, and I will see you in the next lecture.